Yo, what's going on? I've got the bearded man in the outdoors himself. Bearded Gear is on the podcast tonight. How's it going, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you, buddy?
Cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers. I actually have to pop my bottle. I got my
Hit that like button,
medieval.
smash that subscribe button. I'm just playing.
I take it you listened to my most recent podcast.
I did. It's funny because, I tried to do that in a video like maybe 3 or 4 days ago. And even for someone like me, right, who is ingrained in this like content creator kind of I'm fascinated by these TikTok kids and these big YouTubers.
Yeah,
I don't watch them necessarily, but I like to look at what they're doing. You know what I mean? As strategy, right? So
for sure.
I tried to do the like subscribe thing, and it felt so weird.
It feels bad.
It felt so
I can't do
weird.
it.
So what I do is I just like pop up like some little graphics like on the top left and top bottom right or something, and I just go on with it. Like it'll do like a thumbs up, and then the bottom is like it's a subscribe. That's it. That's
Yeah.
all I do. It does feel weird, you know?
Yeah, I think uh, most people just don't. It's one of those things a lot of people don't think about. So people
Yeah.
just repeat it because they hear that it's a pattern that a lot of the big channels that they've seen, they say it. And so, oh, if I'm going to be a big channel, I have to do what the other big channels do, which isn't true. Like
Mhm.
there's people who get big by doing their own thing, and I think are uh, better cases to mold yourself off of. I think uniqueness is a good thing. And so, yeah,
Yes.
I'm resistant to people who are resistant to tactics, if you will, that are just
Mhm.
the accepted norm because that's the way it is. It's like I need a better reason than that's what everyone else does, because I don't think that works for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, clearly what you're doing is working out for you because your channel has definitely been on an uprise, basically, man. You know, with the follower counts, your view counts look good. You've been posting consistently. I also watched the video that you uploaded today. I watched a little bit of that video. The fuck, which one was it? I can't even remember. The Spyderco, right?
When I just put up the unboxing.
Yeah. I watched a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit of it, but I went back to the podcast to get a sense of how you do your thing. But I did like the video you did before that. It was of that birch knife.
yeah, the sea can't.
I love the quality and like the serene, like nature sounds. Like I didn't watch that video before, and I was like, I was like, it was inspirational for me. I was like, fuck, I gotta get a camera so I can like do like that is one of the things that I've been trying to do for 2021 is just like improve the channel, you know what I mean? Like improve the quality, like everything. I've got everything down, like my shtick, like I have it down already, right? It's
Yeah,
just
for
the other
sure.
stuff now. But yeah, man, it really makes me happy to see that you kept on posting and now you're like doing this thing. You mentioned on your podcast with Geared Toward Gear, Beard Toward
Mhm.
Gear in the podcast. But that so you're doing like YouTube full time, like for real, or it's like you're aspiring to get going that direction?
Yeah, so I had a day job, and I started my channel when I got furloughed from that because it was the first time when I really had like the creative space to begin the venture, if you will.
Mhm.
And for like 6 months, I was furloughed from, I was working for a fundraising company that we worked with elementary school students. And it was a fun gig. It was the first time in my life that I was like in a profession that wasn't sales, and I was really enjoying it. Um, but with COVID, it's just like schools are not A, in California, they're not going to school. And then B, if they're even thinking about it, they're not letting non-essential personnel onto campus or whatever. So there's like we were kind of back for like a month where I like set up a home studio, but it was totally different to try to do what we were doing in person with kids. And so it was already a thing where I'd gotten my channel to the point where I had an insane amount of videos uploaded. I still averaged two a day. When I started, it was two, three, four a day. So my library in 9 months is over 400 videos that are
Mhm.
live. And so I'd been taking it really seriously and treating it like my job while I wasn't working. And then when I went back to work, it was like, oh, dude, I like I like doing YouTube a lot more. Um, and so we had found this kind of nice balance where, because my wife does content creation professionally, she's an Instagram influencer, blogger, if you will, um, having me more available to take her photos because the subject is always her and my daughter. That means I'm the photographer. Having me available for that, like, actually kind of increased our income a little bit. it obviously it falls in a different way, having it come all from her business and not from me with a steady paycheck. And there's ups and downs with what she does, and there's all that. But we just kind of figured out that like having me more available for her increases how much we can make with her business, and then that allows me all of the time when it's not like daylight hours. We can't be shooting content for her, so I can be filming videos, and then the days when we're not shooting, I'm shooting outdoors and doing my own content. So I'm kind of doing it full time. Like I consider it like I've made the jump to YouTube, because I'll always be helping with her business as well. I'm not going to stop being her photographer regardless of how big my channel gets. But yeah, I'm kind of doing those two things rather than clocking in somewhere or working for another company, which is really nice.
Sounds like the dream to me, buddy. Like I thought I had a similar situation almost happen because
Oh yeah.
Kelly, shout out to Happy Go Sucky, right? She was like really focused on trying to make content, and like her Instagram page is like fire, like her pictures are great and all that.
Mhm.
Um, and then she like did a podcast with another plant person, and I was like, yes, this is exactly what I want. But
Yeah.
she faced some difficulties with like taxes and shit like that, because when it's sales, bro,
Yep.
like you got to have a good tax guy. It's
Sure.
insane. Like,
I've been down that road. Yeah.
yeah. So like, she got kind of deterred a little bit, and she was like, I don't know if it's for me. I think I'm going to do it as a side thing. Right.
Mhm.
But for a little while I was like, oh, this is it. I'm going to get to go, like whole hog into this content creation thing, which I really love, man. I just like want to create stuff all the time.
For sure.
Listening to that podcast with Geared Toward Gear, I was like, oh man, these guys are actual knife guys. Like not like it's crazy. I get imposter syndrome, not just from like thinking that I'm a YouTuber and then like telling myself I'm not. And then also like, are you really a knife guy or not? You know what I mean? Because I was thinking about this before we got on, and I wanted to figure out a way to say this properly. Is like when a channel on YouTube starts blowing up, right? Like similar to yours and Brandon, Everyday Minimalist, right?
Yeah. Brandon's a good
Relatively
friend of
young
mine.
channels, but like very big rise. And yo, I shout you both out so much in
I
my group
appreciate it.
chat with the YouTube elites. I'm like, yo, these guys are doing it different from the way you guys started, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you catch because the audience familiarizes themselves with you because there's similarities in the way you think about life and things like that.
Mhm.
Whereas in like, if you think about the knife community as a whole, there's not a lot of dudes like me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Backpack B is probably the closest, because I did a podcast with him and he was like, man, yeah, I don't really use my knives. I got to be honest, And he's like, for me, they're like fidget tools. I cut boxes maybe. Like whenever I get a chance to use them, I jump at the chance because there's rarely any, thing to do for a guy in the city.
Right.
So, that's what it is for someone like me and him. It's like I carried this today. This is the Kaiser.
A new front flipper, right?
Yeah, this is the Kaiser M Stealth by Vitesse Design.
Hmm.
And it's a front flipper. It's really awesome. It's like got good fit and finish. But what I didn't cut anything with it yet.
Yeah.
I literally just like played with it all day, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. That is the extent of my knife hobby.
Yeah,
However,
but to be honest, there's nothing wrong with that. Like
yeah.
you having this imposter syndrome, which I get. Like I think we all do that with certain things where it's especially if it's like for me, sometimes I feel like it's kind of weird for me that I have a channel and that like not that I get recognized or whatever, but when people try to like give me compliments on my channel, it feels weird because to me I'm just a dude who's just doing it, right?
Mhm.
But I think maybe you're asking yourself the wrong question when you're like, am I a knife guy or not? Because it's such a moving target. Like you use your knives more than other people do. You use them differently than other people do. You might look for different things in them, but you collect them, you talk about them, you care about them. Like you're a knife guy. You might not be the same knife guy that a
Yeah.
hunter is who's like field dressing deer, but neither am I don't do that either. Like I live in LA. I happen to hike a lot, so I do get some outdoor use in, but like the days when I'm not up in the mountains, my daily use is probably pretty similar to yours. And I think different people look for different things. So like I tend to deep dive into subjects, and like I really enjoy research and figuring a lot out about things. Like for my whole life, I've also been really into cars. And so like figuring out like the intense specifications of like ridiculous cars that I'll never even own is interesting to me, because I dig that. I get a kick out of it. So like to me, that kind of stuff is important. But even if you watch my channel, like on knives, I'm way less spec heavy than other people are. I don't talk dimensions. I don't talk weights. I don't care about that once I have it in hand, because then it's about how I use it. And some people who are looking for specs probably think I'm less of a knife guy because I'm not talking about that. Like I'm just talking about how it feels in my pocket and how it feels in my hand and how I liked cutting with it. And that's like, that's only so valuable it's only valuable if you know me, because otherwise it's meaningless to you. Like if we don't relate, then the information I'm saying is just purely anecdotal. So I think it's just, you have to like view yourself as your own definition of a knife guy. And maybe that's a totally different niche. It's good that you're different, because knife guy doesn't have to mean outdoorsman who's bushcrafting, you know. It just doesn't. I think it's fine to collect things that you never even use at all and enjoy them for what they are. That's a real side of the hobby that probably more people fit into than you may think too. There's a ton of people who collect knives and
It's
don't
like
cut anything.
I treat it more like, you know how like some people are into like kicks and like Supremes and Yeezys and like sneakers, or like some people are into boots, collecting Red Wings and Wolverines and Thursday boots, which I'm kind of into that too.
Sure.
But I treat knives almost like in that category. Same thing with flashlights. I carry flashlights every day. That's another thing too. I carry stuff every day.
Yeah.
Like literally every day. So yeah, I mean, you know, of course I snapped myself out of the imposter syndrome, but I thought it was a cool topic to talk about, because like, you know, like sometimes I'm like, where do I fit in? But then I talk to somebody on a podcast and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm one of them. You know what I mean?
I think
But yeah,
it's fine even if there aren't other people who are like even that relatable to you. Like you can be in this hobby and be like look at it and use it totally differently than other people do, and that's still fine. I think people should be welcome in the space. Like I get a kick out of it when I hear about people who look at their collections and the knives that they carry and all that kind of stuff totally differently than I do, because I'm not the only user. Like I have a very specific lifestyle that I've created around myself, and I fit knives into it, but other people live wildly different lives than I do. And so it's interesting to me to see kind of how versatile the tool of a knife can be across those lifestyles and those use cases, because people find ways to justify a knife that are totally different than what I do. And I think that's good. It's better if more people are into it, whether they look at it like collecting sneakers or like whatever it is for them. I think it's cool to have them in the hobby.
yeah, it's you know, the knife hobby is in a way like blatant materialism that we all endorse with each other. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, get more. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. People
you
joke
know,
about it being an addiction, but it often really is.
I mean, I look at knives every day. I get, you know, interested in like looking at Instagram and seeing what my buddy has and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's a new thing I haven't seen before. That's kind of like how my knife shopping is I like really weird stuff that like is kind of out of the norm, you know, kind of like that Winter Blade Co. Factor that I've been showing around a lot. If I saw that and like it was available, I probably would have bought that. And I literally bought like 2 knives in 2020, like literally. Everything else was sent in. Let's go back to your podcast. You know, now that you've started one, like how does it feel are you uploading every week, by the way? Like how has it been?
Yeah, so when I kicked it off, I wasn't sure whether I was going to do one episode a week or like two a month, or kind of what my spacing was going to be, because I already upload usually 2 videos a day to YouTube. And I'm uploading daily on Instagram. I'm engaging there on Instagram and on YouTube and on Facebook and some groups and stuff. So I kind of have somewhat of a full plate in terms of like keeping up with it. But I quickly found that I wanted to do more rather than less of the podcast, because I just enjoy it. It's a lot of fun to have those conversations.
Fun, dude.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like the only activity it really can get in the way of for me is like my late night editing sessions.
Yeah.
So because most of the time when I'm recording a podcast, it's in the evening, because that's when everybody else is going to be free, and then it's just like I just have to make the space in my house and sit down and do it. And I think I'm going to keep up. at least once a week. I may even bump it up from there,
Dude,
because now
once a
that I
week
started,
is the way.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, there's so many people I want to talk to now that I've
Yep.
started too. It's like I've already got a list of 3-4 weeks that are like confirmed people that I want to do. And there's a bunch of other people that I'm like, as soon as I get through these couple, let's talk, because I want to do it. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'd like to start working those people in, but I tend to jump into things head first a lot of
Yeah.
the time. And that's
Yeah,
just
it's
my
good to
nature.
schedule. I like to bulk schedule them. So as of right now, this entire week is booked, and then next week I think I have 3 nights booked already too. So what I'll do is I'll do like maybe 2 weeks worth, and then I won't do any for a while and focus on content, and I'll have podcasts in the bag to upload. Upload every Friday. I release a podcast around like 8 a.m., 8:30 Eastern.
Yeah.
And that's just how I do it. But like if you look at like Joe Rogan or like any of these big comedy podcasts, they do like more than one a week, and I'm like, should I do that now?
Yeah. Rogan does basically daily. I mean,
Like
there are gaps.
sometimes I think like 2 or 3 a week maybe, but
Mhm.
sometimes he just does like 5, bro. I'm
Yep.
like, what? And it's like, the biggest guests, like Mike Tyson, like Elon Musk. You're like, what? Okay, I'll watch this. Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Yeah, I think one of the main goals of this pod is to be able to talk to people outside the knife world that the knife world might be into. I think that's kind of like gonna be my thing. But of course, talking to buddies that I've met, to kind of like simulate that experience of like getting to hang out with another knife person. That
Yeah.
was a question that Geared Toward Gear asked you, which was like, do you actually have people that you
Real
meet
knife
up with?
friends.
Yeah, and then you were like, oh yeah, I had dinner with a buddy of mine, and we just like ate, and then we just stayed in this car and like looked at knives and stuff. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, for
yeah.
real. Even this Saturday, I've got plans to go hang out with Nick from Niche
Oh
Designs.
yeah, 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 yeah.
He's going on a hike with me. I'm taking him up to my secret spot, and that kind of stuff makes a difference in life, man. Like when you have, if you can't have real friends in person, having like a community, a tribe, if you will, that's just like positive and inclusive, where you have real people you talk to and engage with, like the group chats that I'm in on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, with friends that have become like, like this might be a grim example, but some of the guys that I've been friends with for a couple of years now, just virtually in the knife community on Instagram, like if I found out that one of them died, I would go to their funeral and I would mourn. Like they're a real friend, like
Yeah, yeah.
they're somebody who I've actually connected with, had real conversations with. They've supported me when I've had a rough day. I've supported them. We've laughed over a ton of things. Like that's real friendship. And so I'm lucky that I've been able to meet a few local people that every once in a while I'm able to see in person.
Mhm.
But even without that, like the communal aspect of this hobby, I don't know, like I've been in the car scene before. I've been out of it now for a while, but I
Mhm.
used to go to a lot of car meets. I did automotive photography and I just loved it, right? And I was part of a club for a little while I owned an Audi that was like the Audi Club of Los Angeles. We'd go on group drives and stuff, and that
Nice.
was unique in that community. But other than that one like group, the rest of the car scene was very like not friendly. Like
Yeah.
it's like competition all the time, and everybody's talking trash on each other, and it's just like a weird kind of less cohesive group. Whereas like the knife
Very
community,
clicky.
yeah,
Mhm.
and there's some of that in any community that's big
Yeah.
enough for sure, but I think in general, like if you're painting with a broad stroke,
Mhm.
the knife community is very special in the way that it
Yeah.
kind of treats its own, and it's got its fault,
Definitely.
but it's good.
Yeah, I mean, a perfect example is last night I had Carlos EDC on,
Mhm.
another, EDC podcaster. Shout out to Carlos EDC. He had like this pimped out PM2 with like twill scales, nice hardware, all that stuff.
Mhm.
Like it probably his pride and joy or whatever. Left it in the woods, right? He put it on his stories. He's like, man, I lost my PM2, blah, blah, blah. I get hit up by New York Blade, who organized the group to put in money to buy him the exact PM2.
Dude, that's
So
dope.
last night he opened it on my podcast and like literally almost broke out in tears
Yeah.
because he found the PM2 also.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Which we knew as well, but we decided to still let him keep it because he has a baby girl on the way. and
Mhm.
it's like a congratulations, like, you know. And
A
he was
gift
like,
for 'em.
yeah, and I was like, I've never been in any other community who would do something like that.
Yeah.
Never, like never, dude. I've never, and it was crazy, and everyone just chipped in what they had, and we got. And he was like, "Man, this is a better PM2 than the one that I had."
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that just,
I've been
yeah,
lucky too to like a few times be able to, in some small way, not like to, this is definitely not a toot my own horn thing, but like to be able to participate in some of those kind of charitable things.
mm-hmm.
And the feeling you get as somebody who like contributes to those things, even if it's in a small way, that binds me to the community way more when it's like
Mm-hmm.
I've had an opportunity to kind of help somebody, even if
Yeah.
it's by chipping in $10 or $20 or a knife to a cause or whatever. Like
Mhm.
that kind of stuff makes you as like it's invaluable to the person who's getting to give that as well. And those moments really bring a lot of people together.
Yeah, dude. You know, let's talk about the Facebook groups a little bit, because I know that you're very big on posting on Facebook. Which groups are you mainly on there?
Yeah,
And
so
are they hard to get into?
no, not really. So there's a few that I kind of keep tabs on because I really like the knives in these groups and I find that they have good cultures. So like big ones would be like the Vero group for Vero engineering,
Oh,
a good
yes,
one to be in.
sick knives too.
Yeah, I have an
Oh
Axon that's on the
man.
way right now. It's been shipped and I cannot wait. And then the TRM group is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a moderator for a kind of smaller group called Edge Addicted. That one's good, very like positive. Everyone's welcome, and very focused on knives, but communal. And then the biggest one where I spend most of my time is the Millie PM2 Para 3
I'm
Club.
part of that because of you.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I just
very
became a
cool.
moderator in there recently,
Mhm.
and which just means I spend even more time in there. But it's a lot of fun because that's one of those places where not only is it like a good culture in that group,
Mhm.
but there's like a core, there's a lot of members in it and there's a lot of activity, but it seems like there's kind of a core group of maybe like 100 people who
Mhm.
you'll always see commenting, always see liking, always see engaging. And a lot of those people have become like actual friends just because you see them
Nice.
around so much in there. And then it's like, oh, here you are on Instagram too. And then like, oh, we're chatting about this because I got this and I know you're interested in one. And like conversations happen. And I've had a number of people in there send me loaners for the channel and just like
Wow.
a very good like trustworthy body of people in there.
Mhm.
And yeah, so Facebook is a totally different animal. I'm sure you're you're aware.
Yeah, I'm on it, and I used it a lot when I was DJing, but it was
Mhm.
like, ah man, I don't know if it was just the circle I was in, like the nightlife scene, Asians, bro. It's tricky, bro. It's tricky in New York City, man. You know, I mean, I definitely met some very kind-hearted folks that are awesome, but like, you know, I've got 1,300 friends or something on Facebook, and like probably like 10 of them, maybe 20, care about me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it was just all because like, oh, you know, he's DJing at these big clubs now. Like I'm gonna add him, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of like wanted to build my audience on my own in the knife community. So I hardly post on there in my personal account, but maybe if I would post more in the groups, nobody knows me in there, except for like if they watch the show or whatever, it'll
Mhm.
be much more fulfilling, you know?
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I just treat Facebook as this kind of like toxic thing. Like Twitter can be like that too. And I'm also on there. I'll just post a little picture in there to try to represent the knife community in
Post
there.
and
Yeah, tweet. Sorry, tweet.
yeah. Yeah,
Post
so
and
I
ghost. Yeah, go ahead.
on Facebook, I couldn't even tell you how many like friends I have on
Mhm.
Facebook. I'm sure it's all people from like middle school and high school and
Mhm.
like from my hometown, right? Which is fine. I don't need to like go through and unfriend those people per se, but
Yeah.
I haven't spent any time looking at my actual feed on Facebook that's not knife groups. Like I
Mhm.
just use the groups tab when I log on there.
Oh, I gotta do
I
that.
don't even mess with I have no idea what people in my family generally are even posting on Facebook. Like I have a personal Instagram where I'll see Instagram a little bit more, but even then I hardly even log into
Mhm.
that. It's mostly
Mhm.
just to make sure that I liked my wife's picture from that day.
Oh, or else you're screwed, bro.
Well, I just spend all my time uh, like my time becomes more and more precious the more that I am constantly creating videos, and I've got this library of content that now people are commenting on, and I still want to try to engage there when I can. And I'm a moderator in a group now that's big, and there's like now there's the podcast with all these things. I don't have time to just like surf through my regular feed. I find myself struggling to make time to even like as much stuff on Instagram as I'd like to. I'm like missing friends posts at this point because I'm
Hold on a
just
second, all right?
dropping in real quick.
I'm gonna teach my niece. I'm gonna teach my niece a lesson right now. Hey, hey, what's up? You're on my podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, everybody.
Yeah,
Hello.
I gotta go.
Oh my god.
I gotta go. Bye.
Okay, bye.
No, my niece is on TikTok and she does like she's like 21 and she does the dances and all that.
Yeah.
And I always flex on her. I'm like, because I got more followers than her.
Terrible.
And I'm like, how many views did you get? And I show her my video, got like 200,000 views.
She's gonna start putting a knife in her pocket so people can see the clip, and she'll get
She
more.
was like, I like your content. Because this is my niece who grew up in the Philippines, but she's here for college now. This is her first time in America. And like, she loves it. But she was like, oh, I'm trying, Tito. I'm like, just post every day. That's what you got to do on TikTok. That's, let's talk about that a little bit. So, when I talk to some of the older content creators in our community, like it's almost like frowned upon or almost like a sin to want to succeed in this YouTube thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, bro, you kidding me? If Chavez like hit me up and was like, yo, I want you to get in a Speedo and I'm gonna send you some knives and let's make an ad, I'll be like, yeah, baby, let's go. What I mean? Like I mean, that's me. I'm not saying that everyone should do that, but I am looking for opportunities to make this thing bigger than it is currently. Like I'm actually actively trying to do that while still maintaining my integrity. Like I'm never gonna and I said this too. I'm working with BRS Blade Runner Systems right now. And I told them, I was like, look, if I don't like the knife, I can send it back to you because I don't want to review it and trash it. You know what I mean? If I like it, if I think it's cool, then I'll make content about it for sure. But when it comes to a review, I don't ever just want to trash something. So if I don't like it, I'm gonna let you guys know. I never want to like lie, even if you're paying me. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do that.
Could be an opportunity for the brand as well to like, okay, why was it so bad that you didn't even want to review it? And then they can take that to the drawing board. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like if I'm going to work with a brand, which doesn't happen all the time for me yet, but it's happening.
It will, dude. For you, it will. I know this already. My brother is big on the tube.
So I'm trying to get there. And I've had a few opportunities to work with brands, both small and decent sized. And every time for me, it's just like, I need to make sure that they understand before it's a yes, that I have the ability to be totally honest, good, bad, doesn't matter. Now, does that mean I have to like really slam a knife? Not necessarily. Even if you watch my most harsh reviews, I try to be very balanced about things, because a lot of the time the stuff I don't like is because it's not my preference on a knife. It's not like the knife is prone to breaking or it's going to cut your hand if you hold it the way you would hold a normal knife. Like the safety issues are a different thing, and that I would slam.
Like this. Look at this monstrosity, bro. You see that?
Crazy.
Look at this. What is happening here? I put this on my Instagram the other day. This is the best deck free fall. It's not even what? This is $221.
I wouldn't pay it.
But anyway, go on. Sorry.
But yeah, so I think, and I just the other day I was on the phone with a small maker who's sending me a knife. I think it goes in the mail tomorrow. Anyways, I was on the phone with him for probably 45 minutes, and it was a really nice guy who's doing it part-time and just kind of like toying with the idea of having some YouTubers review his product because he knows it's a thing that could happen, and a fellow reviewer recommended me. Anyways, it turned into this long conversation where like I was able to talk to him a little bit about some social media kind of strategies because he's seen a decline in his engagement. And so just sharing with him things that work for me. And then it was like, look, dude, if I'm going to take one of your knives, first of all, I think they look great already. Never handled one, but like I think they look cool. So that's a good start. But like as long as you're okay with me being objectively honest through my whole process, then that's fine. And I think a lot of the reason why people in our community have like this stigma against people taking product for free and then reviewing it is because a number of people have been caught taking product for free, reviewing it, giving it glaringly positive remarks.
Yeah.
And then it comes out later that that product A isn't very good and B, that they didn't say they got it for free or that they got paid to do it, even worse, right? So I think if you can be honest with people like, hey, this company provided this for review, this is sponsored content, but hey, they let me know and I made sure with them that I could be objectively honest about this. This review should hopefully be helpful for them as well, because the negative things that I say, if they're approaching you as a content creator or you as a reviewer, that's different than creating or than approaching you as like an influencer or whatever, right? Like what I do is I review things. So if you're approaching me to review it, then a review doesn't change based on me getting it for free or me paying for it or it being a loaner or anything like that. The review should be objective the whole way through. So I think it just takes a kind of an understanding, and I haven't gotten any pushback on it when I've done a review of something and I've said from the get-go, like, hey, this company provided this for review. I really appreciate that of them. And then I jump into the review and it's the same as it would be for a knife I bought myself. I think if you're consistent and people will see that, and they like, what can people be mad about? That you're
that you're
honest for working really hard.
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I let people know, like, I've got the Patreon, I'm podcasting like all the time, and you know, people have been supporting the channel by sending stuff in. They do the Patreon, and I am definitely trying to grow the channel so that I can do cooler shit, man. You know, like that's genuinely it. I want to make cooler content. But you know, I think now it's a good time to get into a game I like to call Are You Garbage? Shout out to H. Foley and Kevin James Ryan, comedians who have started the Are You Garbage podcast. They do it funnier than me. I just think it's funny to try to play this game with your favorite knife people. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions to determine whether you're classy or absolute trash.
I'm just flattered that you just referred to me as someone who could be one of your collective favorite knife people.
Dude, I mean, come on, bro. You know, the proof is in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? And the numbers don't lie. You know what I mean? Definitely things are happening for you. You've caught something has caught on. Like you definitely, you know, caught on the algorithm there. And there are people that are just loyal to the channel, just watching you all the time. You can tell by the view counts and such like that. So you're definitely a favorite knife person.
I'm lucky that people think so.
Yeah, even though like I love those comments where you like fight with people, that is some of the funniest shit I've seen on Instagram stories, and I don't have the energy to do that, but when you do it, I'm like, yeah, get him, Jake.
See, the key is to do it without energy. If you come in like emotionally charged, then it's fun, then it's a fight. But before I started my channel, was very cognizant and aware that comment sections can be crazy, especially if you're the content creator, right? And so I knew I had to like fortify my mind before even creating my channel that I couldn't let that stuff get under my skin. And it doesn't. Like people could say the most offensive things directly at me in my comments, and I laugh about it because I know who I am. They don't know. You're like, I'm confident in what I'm doing. If they say I got a fact wrong about a knife, that's one thing. But if people are just like hurling insults for no reason, then
like you talk too much. I want to look at the knife. Somebody called me a communist this week. I'm like, what the fuck?
Ridiculous, right?
And he said, you people, you know, like he was talking about like blade length and how I like to carry 3-inch or below because I'm in NYC. And he was like, you shouldn't look at it like that. You know, that's some communist thinking. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I live in New York City. They're gonna tackle me if I have a Leatherman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have to have fun with it where like I don't get on their level and hurl insults, but I like to point out to people by commenting in a snarky way.
Yeah.
In a way that illustrates to them what an a-hole they're being. Because I think a lot of people, a ton of people, when I like respond in those ways, they'll delete their comment because they realize when they see that I reacted that way, that they were being a douche. It's like, then they pull back, you know, and they pretend it never happened, which is good because then maybe on your video or whoever else's video they go
maybe
to
they
next,
won't call me a communist.
they're not. Yeah, like it's just got to stop somewhere. So like, yeah, I'm a little bit of a debater to begin with. I like to.
It's
I like
cool.
To
I
spar
love
with
it,
people.
man. Everybody check out Bearded Gear's stories for those those comment wars.
All right, let's
They're
find out how
hilarious.
garbage I am.
All right, so let's find a little bit about like how you grew up. Did you grow up with money? Like, what did your folks do?
Yeah, so I grew up with money and then I didn't.
Okay.
My dad was really successful until the economic downturn, and that happened while I was in high school. So most of my life, in fact, all of my life until I was an adult, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And my dad ran a successful business that was his own. He had a few employees, and he's an author, and he basically does consultation for companies who are looking to either sell their business and maximize how much they're going to make and the departure from
like
it.
merger and acquisition stuff?
Sometimes, yeah. Or it can just be general, like companies that are having issues might bring him on as kind of an outside mind to help them reform their processes and get things on track. And yeah, so things were really, really good until like 2008. And then, like my junior year in high school, something like that. I graduated 2010. So right around there, it went real bad.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
So, but very good childhood, loving, typical Americana kind of like growing up, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I had a similar thing happen because in the Philippines, my dad was poor, right? He couldn't even afford electricity, so he studied with a kerosene lamp, and he told me like my boogers would be black when I picked my nose and stuff. But he became valedictorian, became bank president of a really big branch in the Philippines, and he was making all this money. But at the time, like we were still under a dictatorship. And then the government was overthrown and they took all our money, dude, like everything. And then we had to move here. So, you know what I mean? I got really upset when my mom wouldn't buy me the He-Man, like, you know what I mean? At the toy
By the
store.
power of Grayskull.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what do you mean I can't have it? All right. So first question, growing up, did you have a glass of milk with dinner?
No.
Okay. I was expecting maybe a yes on that because I been over to a white friend's house where they served me spaghetti and gave me a glass of milk as the beverage. And I thought it was nasty and they were just like slurping it up.
Yeah, no, I know people who do that.
Yeah.
Sure. But no.
Yeah, I don't understand
thank you.
it. They're like, oh, it's the red sauce.
I've had it
with
served
the
to
milk.
me, much like you.
Yeah.
I to this day, to drink a glass of milk, unless I have like a whole sleeve of Oreos to be dunking in it, count me out. I'm not just like a drink plain milk guy.
Yeah, I mean, no, I never bought into that. Have you ever owned a Chia Pet?
Yes.
I think it was
one? A Bob Ross one.
That is fantastic. That's trashy little trees right there.
So good.
Put that one in the trash pile, too. You know, because some aristocrat like isn't buying a Chia Pet. You know what I mean? So that's one point. All right. Has your toilet bowl ever contained the product known as blue magic in it? When you flush the toilet, it turns the water blue to keep it sterilized.
No.
Okay. We've definitely had that. It like stains your bowl, bro.
What? Wouldn't the point of that be to reduce stains?
Yes, but what happens is it's so blue because it makes the water blue. It like stains the bowl blue. So even after you stop using it, it's like blue for a long time. It's not good.
I mean, I've used toilet cleaner in general before, but nothing that like stays in and like multiple use.
It hangs on the side, like, you know, where the basin is. It hangs on the side there and it like kind of soaks it up. Good. Yeah, that's good. Put that one in the classy pile. Do you keep bread in the freezer? No. You keep it out?
I just buy bread when I need it.
All right. So this is a follow-up question to that. How do you store your bread? Do you twist tie it? Do you like do the knot, or do you just like fold it under like an animal?
So what I'll do is I'll grab the slack at the top, right?
Okay.
I'll twist the bag under it, and then I'll fold the twisted top portion, and then I set it so that the weight of the bread holds that twisted portion under it. Because if it's twisted, less air can possibly circulate through it than if you just folded it over. But yeah, I don't like messing with like putting the twisty tie or the
Yeah.
little clippy thing back on it.
I
because
always
then
lose them.
it tears the bag, or it's like it's just a bummer to deal with. So yeah, you just twist the whole bag,
Yeah.
flap it under.
That's the
set it down.
animal answer, though. So you're gonna get a point for the garbage file now.
All right.
People usually use the twist tie. Okay, so do you have any tattoos?
None.
Okay, good. Because the next question would be, do you have any tattoos with an ex's name on them? And I have that, so I am garbage. What was your childhood grocery store? Like, where did your parents go to buy stuff? Like, was it a big chain? Was it like a...
Yeah, so my mom was an avid like couponer,
Yeah.
not because we were poor, like I said, but just because
People
that's
get
like,
into that. Yeah.
yeah, and I think like her upbringing, she had 8 siblings. There were 9 kids, a huge family, and so I think that like things were relatively scarce.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of bred into her. Sorry, I'm drinking this Coke and it's giving me all
No,
kinds
it's
of
cool.
burps.
It's cool.
But yeah, so she would go like if it was her shopping day, she'd go to like Ralph's and Vaughn's and like Costco. Like she'd hit multiple stores depending on what was on sale where, and then she'd get like skirt steak from here, and then she'd get chicken breast from Ralph's, and then she'd get, you know, like the vegetables would come from Vaughn's. It was like she'd go wherever stuff was the best deal, which is hilarious because then she's like killing half of a day and all the gas money and
the money, the time. That's you know, that's kind of an in the middle answer, because the chains that she shopped at were classy, right? But the couponing thing is a little bit sketchy, you know?
Right. And we were eating like good, like she would buy like good things to eat.
Yeah.
We weren't eating hot dogs all the time, but like it was. You know,
I love a good hot dog. I would want one right now.
a little tube steak for you.
Oh man. Okay, so let's do this one right here. Did your mom use Cool Whip containers or other containers as storage for something else?
No, she had quite the collection of Tupperware.
Oh, okay. Did she use Tupperware for things other than food?
No, I don't think so. Like, what would you put in the? What would you put in the
you know,
Tupperware
a perfect example is like, you know, they have these cookies. They're in this blue like tin.
Yeah.
And almost every immigrant I know, their folks, like their mom would put like sewing supplies in there or something like that. And that is the garbage answer, basically. But classy on that one. Yeah. What type of frozen pizza did you have in the freezer?
I feel like the typical pizza that you'd find growing up would be like either Tombstone or DiGiorno.
Oh, class. You guys get the good stuff. I got like not even Elio's. I got like the generic brand from like Key Food. Wow, man, am I talking to an aristocrat's son right now? De classe, a Frenchman. How do you cook your hot dogs?
I don't. I hate hot dogs.
Ah, okay. Oh man,
I mean, like,
really?
If I'm
not even grilled, not even grilled.
So if I was to make a hot dog, I would overcook it to the point where it tasted less like a hot dog, and the texture wouldn't be so like wienery.
So no sausage either.
I enjoy like a good brat, or like breakfast sausage is good, but specifically hot dogs where it's like bologna in a different shape. I'm just not down.
So you're not a big luncheon meat guy?
No,
so not even like soppressata or some good salami or pepperoni or something? None of that?
I enjoy, like, if I'm at like a good Italian deli and they have like a good Italian like grinder sandwich, sure, like put all the meats in there. But yeah, I'm not like I don't know, I'm not big into bologna-esque meats.
Man, I think I'm talking to a classy individual right now. This is like, you know what's crazy with Carlos EDC? I thought I was gonna find some trash there. All class. It's like insane. Like, you know. Let's see. What did you get on your SATs?
I didn't take them.
Me neither. Okay, garbage. Garbage file right there.
No, I didn't plan on going to college after high school. I didn't, and so I didn't take anything because it was like, whatever you're going to use those scores for, I'm not going to do. So I just didn't even take
See,
them.
that choice goes in two ways. Yours went the way that it turned out good, and like me was bad. I'm still living in the Bronx. All right, you're eating chicken wings and you realize you have to pee. You head to the bathroom. Do you A, wash your hands first, then pee, or B, pee first, then wash your hands?
I can't imagine washing my hands before going to the bathroom. I don't think I've ever done that, but I would probably
You're
have
eating
wiped
chicken wings though.
like with spicy sauce on them.
Okay, let's go with spicy sauce.
I mean, like if there was sauce actually on my fingers, I hadn't like already licked it all off
Yeah.
before I got to the bathroom, then
Yep.
yeah, I'd probably rinse my hands, but I've never had that happen.
Okay, follow-up question though. Since you chose A, do you wash your hands a second time after you pee?
Yeah, you always wash your hands after.
Classy. A lot of the people I asked said no to the
That's
follow-up.
why COVID exists.
like I know. It's because of it's because of the degenerates I hang out with. What is your opinion of the McDonald's product known as filet of fish?
I would rather never eat one.
So you didn't go to fast food restaurants as a kid?
No, I ate fast food a lot as a kid. Yeah.
What was your go-to chain?
In-N-Out, being in Southern California, still is.
That is such a flex on me though, because we don't have that. I had McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's, and I went to the same McDonald's that they shot at in Coming to America, the movie. Like that was my McDonald's. They called it the McDowell's in the movie, but it was actually McDonald's on Queens Boulevard.
With Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
So if we didn't have In-N-Out, it was like sometimes Carl's Jr.
I knew you were
Jack in the Box every now and then.
Dude,
I mean,
that is
Panda
classy.
Express.
That's classy stuff, man. That's Has anyone in your family ever gone or has been involved with a monster truck show?
Oh, I don't think so.
You had to think about it for a second.
If they were, I don't think they've told me.
Uncle Bob used to drive Gravedigger.
No, I mean, like, I've been to like motocross events, but never monster truck shows. No.
Monster truck shows I've never been. My girl said she was at one and it was like really loud. I was like, okay, I've never experienced that. Have you ever been to Medieval Times? That's an East Coast thing. Probably not.
Yeah, no, I actually have. So there's one in Buena Park right by Knott's Berry Farm. And when I was a kid, a friend had a birthday party there. And I went.
Man, that's expensive, man. You guys are clean living up there. Jeez. Let's do a few more questions. Let's see what we got here. Man, this is really hard. Have you ever flashed or mooned anyone?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay. We got one in there.
Trash it up, bro. Yeah.
I mean, so far,
being a teenager.
What was the pet situation like as a kid?
We had so when I was little, we had two dogs that were like outside dogs. We had a golden retriever and then like an adopted mutt. There was a bunch of things. And then when those dogs died, we had a cocker spaniel that lived in the house.
That's pretty standard. That's good stuff. The correct answer for the garbage pile would have been hamster, hermit crab, or guinea pig.
No, I did. So I did have a hermit crab at one point. When I was like 9 or so for my birthday, my next door neighbor gave me a hermit crab. I had a betta fish when I was younger than that. I mean, I had like lizards and fish and stuff like and every now and then. Most of the lizards we ever had were like lizards we would like catch on hikes and we just like keep. I had a horny toad at one point. That was cool.
Wow. That's crazy. Now that the hermit crab thing, if you actually bought it, would have been the trashy answer. Like I actually did try to do that. My mom was like,
had an extensive collection of hermit crabs,
know, right?
and
He's like,
I had at least 3 shells per crab.
They switch them out like every day.
Oh yeah,
have a fashion show with crabs.
Wardrobe.
Oh man, were you a Hellman's or a Miracle Whip family?
Oh, everyone in my family hates mayonnaise. All of us, which is not the right white guy answer. None of us like mayonnaise.
Dude, you're all class here.
And if there was mayo in the fridge, it was Hellman's, and that's just for like mixing into tuna or like deviled eggs. It's not like onto a sandwich. Oh nope.
That's the right answer. Actually, is Hellman's. Miracle Whip is like the imitation kind of
tangy
stuff.
Zip.
Yeah. So good. All class here. Have you ever gone to a restaurant and pretended it was your birthday to get free cake or dessert?
Probably as a teenager. Like
it sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah. I'm sure at some point. Yeah.
Do it tomorrow. My birthday was like 2 weeks ago. What do you think of imitation crab meat?
I'd prefer real crab meat, but
Good. Good answer on that. Have you ever used the phrase "it's 5 o'clock somewhere" or "it's beer 30"?
I don't drink, so no. I mean, like maybe jokingly, I've said
You don't
5 o'clock
drink?
somewhere. Mm-mm.
Damn, that's why you're so productive. I'm drinking right now. I would have. You know,
I'm pounding a Coke.
I thought I pegged you. You know what? That's pretty bad too, though.
No, this is a Mexican Coke, so it's real cane
No,
sugar.
it's not. Just don't try to convince me. My girl is a personal trainer. She is militant, bro. But you know what? She did give me a chance to pig out for like 4 days. It was my birthday. All we did was just pig out like crazy. And she goes, starting Monday, I have a 6-day-a-week plan. Just diet. You know, I'm gonna get you shredded because I said I want to look like I'm in the UFC, and she's like, "Oh, we can do it." I'm like, you know, I'm lifting weights and stuff.
Ray Pacquiao, I like it.
Yo,
yeah,
dude.
So I get these like anytime that I go to like a good taco place, and then today I picked up Peruvian food for dinner. So
nice.
They had medio litros there, and I couldn't say no to that.
You ever have like the I don't know how to pronounce it, like charitos, like the Mexican
charitos?
Yeah, they're so good, dude.
They're bomb. The pineapple one, get out of here.
Oh, that's clean living right there, man. That's so good. Let me give you a couple more questions here. Did you guys drink Kool-Aid or Crystal Light, Tang, lemonade, things like that? You had real juice, didn't you? You freaking...
No, there was definitely like there was Kool-Aid in the cupboard every now and then. Like if we were having like, I don't know, a big get together or something for the kids.
Fresh squeezed, bro.
No. There was a phase where my sister was really into Crystal Light, so it was always in the cupboard. But I always hated it. I couldn't stand that stuff.
I just imagined like little bearded gear. You had a beard and you're like drinking orange juice and pulp with getting stuck. That's what I just envisioned right now for some reason.
Little 10-year-old bearded boy.
Let's go with one more thing in here. Do you leave butter on the counter or keep it in the fridge?
So growing up, it was always in the fridge. Now that I have my own house because I'm a man, I keep it in a buttered dish. But you have to get salted if you're going to leave it out, because unsalted butter you can't leave out. So yeah, salted stick of butter, room temperature, covered. It's got a cover thing so that it's not just like letting dust land on it all day. But yeah, you pop the cover off. Perfect spreading texture. It's the way to live.
You know what? I rest my case. Your Honor, no more questions. Jake, are you there? So Jake seems to have left the podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying these Are You Garbage segments. He is frozen right now. I hope he makes a return because I'm not done yet. Hopefully he will.
There it is.
You have returned. Okay, I continued talking, but basically...
I did too. I actually left the room real quick and came back.
What's crazy is like people have done that after you. Like they watch the podcast too. Like,
wait, they've done that like mistakenly?
EDC with Oaken and Kane. They're this channel. I don't know if you know about them. They do tabletop reviews, but they like build miniature furniture
stuff.
Yeah, it's so cool. So they actually left the room too. And it wasn't a joke. I thought they were joking because they're funny guys. And they were like, well, we wish that was intentional. It's so funny.
But I was just the first to do it. That's good.
Yeah, see, you were a pioneer. But I was gonna say, like, no more questions, Your Honor. This guy is all class in my book. That was, you know, for a little, I did not think. I thought maybe because of the beard, maybe you had some sketchiness, but man, all class. You don't even drink. Like, I couldn't find any dirt on you. Not really.
Keep it pretty buttoned up around here.
Yeah, Backpack B, who also grew up with money. I mean, I asked, you know what? Let's ask you one more question. What was your family vacation like growing up as a kid?
Yeah, so every year we went to Lake Powell. We did a houseboating trip. My grandpa started that tradition way before I was born, like when my mom was a kid. So we would do a houseboat and then like spend a week on the lake. Have you ever been houseboating? It's the best. It's like an RV, except it drives on water, and then you just like pull up on the shore somewhere, and then you hang out there. And we had like a speedboat, and we'd wakeboard and ski and stuff.
Dude, I was lucky to go if I went to Six Flags or like Hershey Park or something. Houseboating. This is like, yo, am I talking to like the Steve Jobs family? Like,
oh goodness,
houseboat. The same. I was just gonna say, Backpack Me said the same thing. He's like, oh, we didn't go on vacations much, but I did spend a lot of time in the lake house. I'm like, Lake house.
See, the houseboat thing, it's like my grandpa had like bought into a timeshare on a houseboat.
Yeah.
And then after he passed away, my family would kind of like keep it going. But it was my mom and a couple of her siblings, like each of us would all stay there. So we'd be on like a relatively small houseboat compared to the
Yeah.
others on the lake. And there were like 25 of us on it. It was very like, I'm one of 5 kids in my family. My cousins, I think there were 7 kids in one, 5 in the other. So there was like
Big family.
bunch of kids, and so it was craziness. It wasn't like some people do houseboating very differently than we
So
did.
all of you were on the houseboat at like one time, like just
Yeah, oh yeah.
kids. What?
So the way it would work too, houseboats are dope. So Lake Powell's really hot. We'd go in July every year, and at night it cools down a decent amount. But like in the houseboat, there's a couple of like bunk beds and stuff. But we would all just line up like rafts and inflatable mattresses on the roof of the houseboat because it's a whole like hangout area up there, and it's just like open air, sleeping on the roof with like one light blanket, and you're good because it's so warm.
Yeah,
And so you're just like you're under the stars out in the middle of the desert. It's really cool.
That sounds amazing, dude. That's
yeah. If it gets too crowded, you just go for a swim. You're surrounded by water.
That is awesome, man. I wish I did that. I went to the beach and I saw like a homeless person taking a crap in the water. And the mom was like, we're never going to this beach again. You know?
Oh gosh. I mean, yeah, here in LA, I've been to some nasty beaches.
Yeah.
But lakes are different.
What's it like over there right now? Anyway, like, you know, of course I listen to podcasts and a lot of the comedians I follow are there and they're like, everything is just completely locked down and stuff. Are you heading into the city at all or?
No, so I'm a little bit weird in the sense that like I live here, but I hate the city.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't deal well in general with like crowds, and makes me feel claustrophobic. I hate dealing with like places where you can't find parking and then you're like lucky to find a meter, or you're paying $20 for some stupid lot for 20 minutes. I hate all that. So I avoid downtown pretty much at all costs. Every now and then we'll have something that we'll need to go down there for, but since COVID, I think I went into downtown once. It was on my wife's birthday to pick up donuts for her because the closer spot was closed for some stupid reason. And so I had to go to the downtown location.
What donut shop was it?
It's called Donut Friend.
Donut Friend. Interesting.
Yeah, so they're really good. My wife avoids dairy, so a lot of the time she picks like vegan options because it doesn't have dairy in it. Not because she's actually lactose intolerant, but like her system doesn't do well with it. So this place does all vegan donuts, and they're like, actually, I hate vegan food with a passion. I despise it, but these donuts actually taste better than regular donuts. I don't know what they do to them. Anyways, so they have a downtown LA location, and so I went like when it opened to the one that's close to us, stood outside for 20 minutes thinking like, when are they going to open this thing up? I had to call another location, find out they're closed. Wow. So I drive my butt to downtown. I had to park like 3 blocks away at some sketchy spot. And then I'm like feeling bad because I've got like a gnarly, I think I was carrying like my Microtech Stitch or something that day. It was like in downtown's the wrong place where you actually could maybe get frisked or something. So I just like beeline for the donut shop, got right back to the car, and like was lucky I didn't have a ticket on the windshield. But that's the only time in the last probably year that I've gotten into downtown for something. I live up kind of on the foothills in Pasadena. And so Pasadena people mostly know about because like the Rose Parade and the Rose Bowl and all that. But it's right up against a mountain range here. So I'm in the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains, where it's Angeles National Forest, and it's like massive wilderness. So I'm in the kind of the compromised spot with my wife where we're like close to our family members, her family specifically, and we have like all the advantages of being kind of in the city. There's good restaurants and all that kind of stuff. And where we live, it's a really big like Chinese population. And so there's a big focus on like academics and really good schools, and it's a safe neighborhood. So we're like next
pretty
to
good
the city.
food, I bet.
Yeah, with the closest spot to my apartment is like this little dumpling restaurant. That's like kind of hole in the wall
right now.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. All the time I get their juicy pork dumplings, and they do like really good wok tossed noodles and all kinds of stuff.
Damn, that's nice, man. You know, what do you do like on your free time aside from creating content? Like you watch TV, watch movies, like anything like that?
Yeah, so a lot of the content that people see is me hiking,
Mhm.
and a lot of that is because I genuinely want to be
That's
hiking.
what you
So
like to do. Yeah.
yeah, like today I went on a hike and I was planning on shooting some content while I was out there, but it was windy. I got there later than I wanted to, and so I ended up just hiking. And
Mhm.
so I try lately to do a couple hikes a week, and I'll usually shoot footage on like two of them, and then I'll do at least one that's just for me. Because when I
Mhm.
go with all the camera equipment and the stuff that I'm going to film, and I'm looking for a good like spot, it's a different hike than when I'm covering ground and like going to a cool place, lightweight, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, I genuinely do a lot of hiking. Every now and then I'll get on a kick where I'll play like Call of Duty Mobile. I'm usually ranked
Ah,
like top 2 or
nice.
3% in their in their battle royale mode or
Nice,
whatever you call
dude.
it. Um, I enjoy that, but it's like I'll go weeks without playing. I haven't played it
Mhm.
in 2 or 3 weeks now, and then sometimes there'll just be a day where I'll play for like 4 hours. But that's kind of my one guilty pleasure. If I'm at home, I've got a kid, and so I'm
Yeah,
trying to
it's
spend time
tough.
with her. I'm getting videos edited. I'm shooting
Mhm.
photos. I'm uploading stuff. It's like I'm always on my laptop or my phone doing something.
So like you're like kind of almost like an Instagram husband, but taking pictures of your wife and kid allows you to spend more time with your wife and kid. So that's kind of awesome too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
That's pretty cool. That's a good deal right there, man. I wish that's what I had.
I'm
But
lucky.
yeah, that's awesome. Dude, like how do you go on for so long on your podcast? Because you did like 4 hours. Like,
Yeah.
how did you? I mean, is it because like you guys are really tight, you and Geared Toward Gear? Is that why,
No,
or?
we had never spoken other than like texting. And so
Mhm.
that just happened to work out. But when I created my podcast, I wanted to be sure that I left it as open and open-ended as possible. So
Mhm.
like even I use StreamYard to host it, and I specifically got like the Gucci plan that the limit is like 8 hours of one stream.
How much
Uh,
is that
I think it's like $50. It's
a
stupid.
month?
Yeah, I might try to find a different one,
And
but
so StreamYard, I have a question on that.
Mhm.
Um, why did you choose that platform? Because of the options available? Like,
Yeah, so I had seen a couple other people use it, like Bob the Knife Junkie uses it,
yes,
and then in the
he's the
Millie Club they
master.
use it for their lives. And I just like the ability you have to like highlight screens. If I'm talking to a maker or something and they're trying to like show a piece, I can make their screen the only one you see for a moment, and it's like kind of seamless the way you can move things along.
Mhm.
Plus, it's really good for live streaming, so I can use it
Mhm.
right now on my podcast. I'm just doing it in a record mode,
Mhm.
but I can use it to stream to YouTube, to Facebook, to Instagram, I think,
Can
all
you have people
simultaneously.
hop on even though you do the live on through YouTube? You can have people
Yeah,
hop
so
on.
if I'm doing it live, I can also filter in the comments that are coming in from people watching it in those individual spots. So like if I'm live on YouTube and I'm using StreamYard to host it, I can still do all my cool like screen moving stuff. I still have all the same features as if I'm recording, but I can also see comments coming in, and it works pretty well.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe I
so
need
I
to
still
do
need to
that.
master it, but
Maybe I need to do that
yeah.
because there's just, it's like I am trying to find new ways to like spice things up, right? Like I know it's um like I just need to find my audience, which is like happening now. It took a long time. It's not everyone is like Jake, bro. You know what I mean? Like I've been at this for like maybe 3.5 years, almost 4 years, but like I didn't know what I was doing until probably last year. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Which is the podcasting and rely more on my personality and my energy than trying to be like everyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like what I was saying is like I'm trying to spice up like the podcast more, and I know the formula already works, but that sounds like something that'd be really cool. Have you ever tried the live feature at all?
Yeah, so I used it once on YouTube. I did my buddy Wes from the Pocket Perspective. He sent me a couple of loaners and I sent him some. They got there
Mhm.
within a day of each other, so we waited until we both had them. We did a
Sick.
live unboxing together.
That
Um,
is sick,
yeah, it was
dude.
a lot of fun, and I'll probably keep using it for like I'll do when I pick a giveaway winner, I'm gonna
Hmm.
go live to do that because then it's better when it's live. And then
Hmm.
I might like hang around to do a Q&A. And because I can see the comments coming in, that's good. Plus, if I'm doing a giveaway that's kind of across multiple platforms, the fact that I can stream to multiple platforms is really good.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's fairly seamless and it works. And if you do the paid for version, then it doesn't like show their branding on it. You can put
Yeah.
your logo on it or whatever you want.
Right.
And it just keeps it simple. But
Man,
it's not
50
cheap either.
bucks though, dude. $50? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's like 600 bucks a year, right? Or something. Did I just do my Asian math right
Yeah,
now? Or?
yeah, you got it.
Oh, snap.
And I think
I never took my SATs.
I think you can pay a year up front and it's a little cheaper or something, but I didn't want to jump right into that because I didn't know for sure I was
Right.
gonna stick with it.
Man.
So I'm just month to month on that plan with it, and I can dial it back. But like,
Mhm.
if you do, there's one that's like $30 a month, and I think the difference is you can't upload in like it maxes out at like 720p, and
Ew.
then yeah, and then the max is like 4 hours, which the podcast I just did with Sean was 4 hours and 4
40
minutes.
some. Yeah, it was
Now,
long.
in the record mode, I haven't played with it. You might be able to record only for as long as you want, and it's just
Yeah.
live streams it puts that cap on.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then I might even dial it back. But I don't know. I just wanted to get the one where I could upload in full resolution. I didn't
Yeah.
have to worry about a time limit, and so far it's worked fairly well. So
Yeah, it's like I just do this Zoom thing because it was the most cost efficient way. But what you just told me right now sounds pretty dope to do
Right.
live stuff, because I want to do more lives, man. Do you do a lot of live shows?
I've only done the one so far. I need to start doing more because I
Yeah.
guess I've gone live twice. I did one with Wes and then I did one picking a giveaway winner. And each time I'm like, oh shoot, there's already 30 people watching.
Yeah.
Like I'm not very good at like watching other people's lives a lot of the time because I'm very
Me
go
neither.
during the day. But
Mhm.
like I love that Bob does it on his channel. If you go
Yeah.
on his Thursday night knives or whatever, it's
Mhm.
a lot of fun and people are there and they're commenting and it feels communal. It's like a good
Yeah.
thing. So I know I need to start doing
Yeah.
more of that, and hopefully I can just start making it
Yeah,
happen.
dude. Yo, man, it was really awesome to have you on. Is there anything that you want to tell the folks like watching the show? Anything you got
No.
going on, trying to promote something? Just follow Bearded Gear on YouTube and Instagram, basically.
Yeah, I mean, on Instagram, I'm posting daily. So if you like looking at pictures of knives, I do giveaways there every now and then. So that's always happening. YouTube also just Bearded Gear. I'm posting at least one video a day, usually two, sometimes three.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I'm just plugging away. The podcast is the new thing. I'm having a lot of fun with that. As of when we're recording this, there are 3 episodes live. I know you and I are going to do one on mine as well.
Yes. You let me know when you got time. I'm gonna do that. But that is why I actually wanted to have you on. One, because like I try to reinvite a lot of the guests that I really liked from last year, and just have you back on. But the fact that you're doing a podcast, and I have been telling everyone to start a podcast because we can all help each other grow. You know what I'm saying? Like if you had, like you just started your podcast, you want to promote it on here, you can do that. And just that's what everyone else is doing. You know what I mean? I know you don't like to follow trends, right? But it's the formula that works, because my audience wants to hear from you and your audience wants to hear from me, hopefully. They're like, who is this crazy? Who he's wearing a like Adventure Time shirt. Like, what is it?
Yeah, no, I think the way I looked at it in deciding to finally actually make the podcast is something I was interested in doing for a long time because I like to talk.
Yeah,
I have no
me
problem
too.
going on for long periods of time. And
Yeah.
I like learning, like especially in this type of format, conversational learning from one human being at a time.
My
It's
favorite.
invaluable. But if you look at Instagram, the knife community is frankly pretty big there. There's a ton of people with pages where it's directly focused on EDC. Some of them are like really taking it serious. Others, it's just a hobby, and everything in between. And then if you go to YouTube, there's actually a good number of knife channels at this point, review channels specifically. There's a ton of people who are reviewing knives, everything from the big Nick Shabazes all the way down to micro channels.
Yeah.
And there's a sea of content, but in the podcast kind of arena, it's a media that I like to consume a ton, but there's just not enough knife related stuff. I listen to like Joe Rogan every day and a few other podcasts that I'm typically tuning into, but it's like there's one Knife Nuts podcast here and there. Usually if I catch like yours or the Knife Junkie, I'm actually watching them on YouTube more than I'm listening to them anyways. But like there's Mark of the Maker, and a lot of these are just like once a month, maybe once a week. And so for somebody who's spending a lot of time listening while I'm doing stuff, I just wanted there to be more of that. So I figured the best way to add to it is just to personally add to it. And then hopefully more and more people follow that trend. And selfishly, it'll give me more stuff to listen to. So
I was telling people, I'm like, you guys are doing podcasts now. When you do live for an hour, it's basically the same thing. Like
it's
Metal
identical.
Complex does like the Knife Guy, right? These long form videos. And I'm like, dude, that is a podcast. If you look at the comedian Bill Burr's podcast, he's always by himself. He's just talking about like what he did throughout the week or whatever, what he's into, the funny thing he saw the other day, things like that. And that's exactly what Metal Complex is doing. He's like, oh, I got to play with this knife the other day and I thought it was going to be awesome, but then it turned out to be just okay. That is stuff that everyone is kind of into. Yeah. And you're already doing it. So I said, why don't you just
download Anchor? It does all the work for you.
Exactly. Is that what you use? Are you using Anchor right now?
Yeah, on Anchor. It's awesome. Best.
Yeah,
it's so much easier than even uploading a YouTube video, because all you got to do is just like plug it in, and then it puts it on every platform for you. It's shameless plug.
Do you just convert the audio from video to audio? Is that what you do? Or
so when I pull it out of StreamYard, I'll download one file as video because I put my podcast on the channel as well, and then I'll download one as an MP3, and then I plug that MP3 right in. It lets me pull it out in both formats, which is easy. Just takes, I don't know.
I gotta get that because I have to convert mine.
Oh, no.
So it lessens the quality a little bit. Let me ask you this, like, what is the invite process like then? I mean, is it through email? Like, how do you, the person gets a link?
Basically like Zoom. I'll just snag whoever the guest is, I'll snag their email and shoot them a link, and then it puts you in, and you can, there's like a backstage feature or whatever, so you can stay out of the room and communicate before you go in. You hit record, basically how you do on Zoom. I can show you on mine. We can,
but and there's no they don't have to download like an app or anything. It's just
it doesn't work in Safari if you're on a Mac. So you got to be in Chrome or whatever.
Okay. But most people can get Chrome though. Yeah, that's so awesome, dude. That's one of the things that I really like about what you're doing, man, is like even though we're going about the hobby in different ways, you have like kind of the same mentality of like trying new things and just like go. That's like me with a YouTube channel. You know what I mean?
I look at it at this point kind of like a startup. Like
you are the startup. Bearded Gear is this Inc. Bearded Gear Inc.
Right. And I'm monetized. I make some money from it. It's kind of a side hustle. It's not nothing, so like the effort does create some income. But my vision for the channel is way bigger than where I am now. And all of the foundation that I can lay early on, which is like the whole reason why when I started my first day, I put up 4 videos. The day after that was 4 more videos. Then it was 3 videos. Then it was 5 videos. Like I wanted to have a foundation under me, and I'm still less than a year into the project of like creating my channel and like this whole thing. But the more work I put in now, I think the easier it'll be later. And so I'm just always like, my only regrets about my channel are not starting it sooner. And so with the podcast, I was like dragging my feet for a month and like, I'm going to start one. And then finally I was like, I'm starting one because in a month, I'm just going to be mad that I didn't start it a month sooner, and it's true. Like I should be on podcast number 18 right now, but I'm on podcast 3. So that's just kind of the way I look at it.
Who's your next guest on there?
So this week, I'm recording on Saturday with a buddy who's not a YouTube knife reviewer, although he does some written reviews on his Instagram. His handle is MB Wild, and we're doing a deep dive into Chris Reeve knives and the where we think they should exist in the marketplace versus where they're perceived to be
$200 cheaper.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about. I've gone down that rabbit hole on my channel before, and it makes some of the fanboys mad. But we're going to try to be very concise and fair, and just kind of do a deep dive evaluation of where we think people are a little bit wrong in their perception about Chris Reeve knives and what they really are.
That's going to be a hot episode.
It's not meant to be just a roast. Like we're not out for blood, but I think it'll be.
But people always perceive like anything that goes against what they believe or what they think is like an attack on them. It's kind of like, you know, what's funny is I was actually guilty of that when I listened to you on Gear Toward Gear talk about the David Dobrik stuff, right? Because I don't watch the guy. I don't watch him at all.
Yeah.
I know who he is, and I think his content is like not for me, but I respect the fact that he cultivated this massive audience because in a way, like that is where I aspire to be. Maybe not doing like, I'm gonna fill my pool with Cheerios. Maybe not that. But you know what I mean? Like you want the channel to be successful, right? Like
yeah, I'm gonna fill my bathtub with knives. It's gonna be great.
yo, can you imagine? We're just like swimming in it like Uncle Scrooge and DuckTales, like
just bleeding everywhere.
Dude, oh man. But yeah, you know, it's like that to go back on the thing where it's like some of the OGs think that to try to be successful in this thing is cringy or like a sin. I'm like, bro, do you know how much more of an impact I can have as a creative person if I were to reach a certain point like that? You know what I mean? It's not like I don't ever want to be like that. Like, you know, I look at Peter McKinnon, you know, the photographer, you know him, right?
The pirate guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, he did a video recently. I don't know if it's recently, maybe it's pretty new, where he answered people's questions. And then he was like, I always wanted to make whatever I wanted. I wanted to be known as a creator good at something, which was like photography and cinematography. But like, I want to make content about like anything that I want.
Right.
And I was like, I'm the same way. Like, I just want to be known as this guy that's like kind of funny and acts kind of crazy. But like, I want to make content about everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I think being worried about being cringy is such a weird concept to me because like you feel it when you're being cringy, you know, like if
and I did the subscribe thing, I felt
it feels so apparent to you as the person doing it. And like my whole philosophy behind my channel all the way along has been I have to make content the way that I can make it for 10 years and not hate it. Right? Like I should look back on my old videos and be like, ooh, what was I doing? Just because I've grown, but not because it's like I was doing things that I hate to get big. And I think people make the mistake of thinking just because other people have gotten big a certain way, that's the only way. And like, I don't know. I understand why people hate cringy stuff because I hate it. Like I'm the first one to say like,
but a lot of people love it.
Yeah. I can't sit through a David Dobrik video. So for me, if I want to be big, then I need to let that happen naturally by making the content I want to see. And if other people want to see it, then I'll get big. If they don't, I'll stay a certain size. And that to me is like more acceptable than the like selling out. But trying to grow and trying to like make captivating content and to make money at what you're doing, that's not cringy to me. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with like trying to increase and grow and get bigger. I think that's an admirable cause. And in any other sphere, if somebody was in sales or if they were working for a marketing team, like you should be trying to advance. You should be trying to get to the next level. That's what you do in a career or even in a hobby. Like it's about going bigger and better. Like your knife collection, you want to get bigger, not smaller. You want more expensive knives in there. Why should I want to stay small just to like avoid the term influencer? Like it's weird to me.
Do you think that's a weird thing to be called? Like, let's say Bearded Gear a year, 2 years down the line is like you're sitting pretty at like 200,000 subs, raking in that Benchmade dough, and still have kept your integrity, but you're now known as like an EDC influencer. Like, would it be like weird?
I don't put any.
I would wear influencer like on a t-shirt. You know what I mean? Like
I might joke about it, sure, but like I feel like you have to know who you are.
Yeah.
When you're gonna like do anything kind of public, right? Otherwise, you'll be too easily swayed in any given direction. Like any feedback becomes ultra important to you. I don't listen to much feedback. Like I appreciate positive feedback, but I don't even really listen to that because I've got my own vision, my own goals, and I know what those are. I'm decisive about it. And so for me, whether I'm at the 4,000 some odd subs that I'm at right now or 100 or 200K, like it's still me doing the same thing. And so whether people attach a label to that of like, now because this many people watch him, he's an influencer, sure. But like, it doesn't change me internally. So I just don't put much stock in that kind of like thinking, if that's what people want to label it so it makes sense in their heads, sure. But that doesn't mean that they've really accurately described what I do either.
Wise words coming from a man with a beard. Bearded Gear, dude, Jake, it was so awesome to have you on here, man. You're welcome on here anytime. Definitely hit me up to do
Appreciate
the
it, Ray.
podcast. I'm going to be on it. Just let me know. This is your boy in the NYC. It's me, Ray, and Bearded Gear saying peace.
Yo, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so we can squad up in the comments.